It was just past midnight at the general hospital, and Nurse Bissy was fighting to stay awake at the reception desk. Her eyelids drooped heavily, and her head kept dipping forward as she struggled to resist sleep. The silence of the empty lobby only made it harder, until suddenly the automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh. Startled, she raised her head and froze. A young woman staggered inside, clutching her stomach with both hands and wearing a look of absolute terror. Her steps were uneven, her breath shallow, and her knees seemed ready to give out at any moment. Nurse Bissy's drowsiness disappeared instantly. She jumped to her feet and rushed toward the girl. "Please," the young lady gasped, leaning against the wall as though it were the only thing keeping her upright. "Help me." Nurse Bissy slipped an arm around her, guiding her gently toward a nearby chair. "Miss, are you okay? What exactly happened?" she asked, trying to keep her own voice calm despite the fear tightening her chest. The girl struggled to catch her breath. "Please, get the doctor." Her voice shook so violently that the words came out in fragments. It's better you see it. I can't explain." Nurse Bissy exchanged a troubled glance with another nurse who hurried over after hearing the noise. Without hesitation, she picked up the phone and dialed the number of the doctor on duty. At that moment, Dr. Eunice was in her office going through patient files. Known for her composed nature and steady hands, she rarely panicked. But something in Nurse Bissy's tone, something urgent and trembling, sent a chill through her. "Doctor," Bissy said breathlessly over the phone, "a patient just came in. She looks extremely distressed and is insisting you come immediately." "Doctor." Eunice stood up at once, grabbed her stethoscope, and looped it around her neck. "I'm on my way." A few moments later, she entered the lobby and saw the young woman seated with her head bowed and her fingers pressed against her temples. She looked exhausted, frightened, and on the verge of collapse. "Doctor." Eunice approached with a gentle voice. "Hello, I'm Dr. Eunice. Can you tell me what happened?" The woman lifted her head slowly, her eyes glassy with fear. I can't explain it. You just need to see it yourself," she whispered. "Please hurry." The desperation in her voice made Dr. Eunice's heartbeat quicken. She nodded and helped the woman rise to her feet. "All right, let's get you to the examination room." Inside the room, Dr. Eunice guided her onto the examination table. She noticed the woman trembling uncontrollably, gripping the edges of the table so hard her knuckles turned pale. "Try to breathe slowly," the doctor said softly. "What's your name?" "Angela." "My name is Angela," she replied weakly. "Angela," Dr. Eunice said, her voice steady, "I'm going to examine you to understand what's causing this pain. Can you point to where it hurts?" Angela's eyes dropped downward. After a long moment of shame and hesitation, she gestured toward her lower abdomen. "It's down there," she mumbled, her voice cracking. "Please, just look." Dr. Eunice nodded, keeping her expression gentle. She prepared to begin the examination, but the moment Angela parted her legs, she recoiled, taking a sudden step back. Her breath caught in her throat. "Oh my God," she whispered, completely unprepared for the sight before her. Tiny white maggots writhed and squirmed inside Angela's most private area, an image so disturbing and unnatural that Dr. Eunice felt a cold shiver crawl through her entire body. Angela's face twisted in pain as she reached for the doctor's hand. "Please, doctor, help me. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't want to die." Dr. Eunice forced herself to regain control. She had seen countless infections, wounds, and medical emergencies, but nothing remotely close to this. "Angela," she said firmly, though her voice trembled at the edges, "I'm going to help you, but you need to stay strong." Angela nodded through her tears. The doctor administered an injection to ease her pain, then carefully began cleaning the affected area. The sight continued to haunt her, raising questions she couldn't immediately explain, scientific or otherwise. After stabilizing Angela as much as possible, Dr. Eunice sat across from her. "Angela," she began cautiously, "this condition is extremely unusual. I've helped relieve the pain and clean the area, but I need more information. When did this first start?" Angela wiped her face with shaky hands. "About 5 days ago. I noticed a strange smell. I felt uncomfortable. I tried washing repeatedly, but it didn't help. And the maggots kept increasing." It got worse every day, doctor. Eunice listened intently. Did you change anything recently? Medications? Soap? Food? Anything new? Angela shook her head. No, nothing. You're a student, right? Do you stay in a hostel? Shared bathrooms can sometimes. Angela immediately shook her head. No, I stay alone. I'm actually very careful with hygiene, doctor. Eunice hesitated before asking in a lowered voice, are you sexually active? Angela froze, then nodded slowly. When was the last time you were intimate with a man? It might help us understand. Embarrassed, Angela whispered, my boyfriend, Williams. It was about a week ago, doctor. Eunice wrote it down, her instincts prickling. Something about the timeline didn't feel normal or medical. Angela's condition defied any familiar explanation. 1 week ago, and the symptoms started 5 days ago. She murmured, Angela, has anything else changed recently? Anything in your relationship? Anything that might have caused this? Angela's expression darkened. Williams, he changed. He used to be kind and supportive, but he started hanging out with new people, rich men, flashy people. He began acting strange, like someone I didn't know anymore, doctor. Eunice frowned. Did you notice anything unusual about his behavior? Anything out of the ordinary? Angela shook her head slowly. Nothing, except he kept talking about wanting more from life, about leaving poverty behind. But he wasn't doing anything strange. He just wanted to belong to that world. Still, the doctor's instincts whispered otherwise. She had heard unsettling stories, supernatural rumors about people seeking wealth through dark, forbidden means. She had never believed them. Not truly. But after seeing what was happening to Angela, she couldn't dismiss the possibility. The next morning, determined to seek clarity, she consulted the hospital's senior gynecologist, Dr. Nami, known for handling rare and complicated medical cases. In his office, she recounted every detail. I've never encountered anything like this, she finished quietly. It almost feels mystical, doctor. Nami leaned back, his brows furrowing deeply. This is troubling, he admitted. And, if I'm honest, it reminds me of certain stories, cases where people suffer strange conditions due to spiritual interference, dark manipulations. A cold tremor ran through Dr. Eunice. Are you suggesting this might be supernatural? He nodded slowly. It's possible. Sometimes the people closest to the victim unknowingly bring harm. Angela mentioned her boyfriend. He may be connected to something beyond the ordinary. Though shaken, Dr. Eunice couldn't deny the sense that something was terribly wrong. She returned to Angela's room and sat beside her, filled with sympathy and quiet determination. Unsure of what she might uncover next. Angela, I need you to be completely honest with me. I am going to do everything in my power to help you, but I need to understand everything about your relationship with Williams. This is important. Angela looked down, and a fresh teardrop slipped down her cheek as she prepared to share a part of her life she had never thought would be out. I met Williams last year. We were both struggling. He came from a background like mine, poor, but with dreams of something more. We had so much in common, and for a long time I felt like he was one person who truly understood what he was going through. Dr. Eunice nodded, encouraging her to continue. And things changed, Angela continued. Yes, about 3 months ago, William started spending time with some new friends. At first I was happy for him. They were wealthy, successful people with power, or at least that was how they appeared, but something about them did not feel right. What do you mean? Dr. Eunice asked as her curiosity piqued. Angela's voice grew softer. There was one night I remember he came back home late, acting strange. His eyes looked different, cold, almost as if he was someone else. He spoke about wanting to escape poverty, saying he was tired of waiting endlessly. He said he would do whatever it took to be rich. Did he tell you what that whatever it took might better? Eunice asked gently. Angela shook her head. No, he was vague, but I could see it in his eyes. He was serious. He would listen when I asked him to be careful and to remember that not everything that glitters is gold. Dr. Eunice nodded suspiciously. Angela, I know this might sound unusual, but I think it is possible that Williams may have become involved in something dangerous, something that has affected you as well. I want to help you find answers, and there is one way we might Do that. Angela looked up curiously. Do you mean Dr. Eunice took a deep breath. I think we should try to contact Williams. I want you to call him, and while we speak, I want you to pretend that everything is fine. Keep him calm, make him feel comfortable, and see if we can get him to reveal anything that might help us understand what is happening to you. Angela's face went pale. Want me to confront him? Not directly, Eunice clarified. Just talk to him casually. Tell him that you're not feeling well and see how react. Will be listening, and if he lets anything slip, it could be a vital clue. But if you notice that he's pretending, then try to provoke him, push him to be angry, and say things out of anger, whichever one works. Angela took a deep breath and then nodded. All right, I'll try. I'll do whatever it takes. Dr. Eunice gave her a small recorder, telling her to keep it close to her. They dialed William's number and Angela held the phone to her ear, forcing herself to remain calm. As the line rang, after several rings, William's voice came through the line, casual and unbothered. Angela, what's up? I didn't expect a call from you. Angela clenched her hand around the phone nervously. Who? Williams, I have not been feeling well lately. I just wanted to check in with you. You not feeling fine? He asked with a cool tone. What do you mean? Angela blinked, trying to keep her voice casual. It is hard to explain. I have been experiencing some strange things. I thought maybe you would know something about it. There was a P on the other end, and Angela grew increasingly nervous before Williams laughed, a hollow sound. Angela, be ridiculous. If you're feeling sick, then you should just rest. But Angela pushed on, carefully maintaining her tone. But Williams, this thing started after we were together last week. I don't understand it, and I thought maybe you would know. Angela, he interrupted her sharply with a cold voice. You are asking too many questions. Angela felt her heart sink. She could hear the indifference in his voice, the lack of empathy for her suffering. It was obvious that something in him had changed. Willie Wills, if there anything you are not telling me, please, I need to know, she pleaded. Finally, he let out a frustrated sigh. Fine. You want the truth. I was tired of living like a nobody. Angela, I wanted more. I needed a way out, and you just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Angela's breath caught in her throat. Her worst fears have been confirmed. What did you do to me? William saw Clacy echoed through the phone, very cold and heartless. Nothing personal, Angela. Let's just say you were useful. Some of us want more from life, so you are my sacrifice. Angela's hands shook as she held the phone. She had thought she knew him. She had trusted him with her life, and now he had turned her into a pawn in his twisted game for wealth. Drunus, who had been listening to the conversation, gave Angela a reassuring no, signaling that she had recorded everything. Angela finally ended the call, still in shock of the betrayal. Dr. Eunice was now convinced that Angela's affliction was beyond the real of physical medicine. She then decided to take Angela to someone who could help her understand and hopefully reverse the dark forces that had entangled her. She took Angela to her church to meet a pastor, Pastor Elijah. As Angela recounted her ordeal, Pastor Elijah listened attentively, nodding as she spoke. Angela, you are the victim of a ritual. What you are experiencing is the result of a dark spiritual exchange, something Williams initiated without your knowledge. You have only 5 days to leave because the sacrifice has been successful, but take it, there is a way to break the Angela's eyes filled with tears. Please, Pastor, I will do anything. I just want to be free of this curse. Pastor Elijah nodded. There is hope, Angela. God's power can overcome any darkness. I want you to begin by praying the Psalms from now on, especially at midnight when the power of prayer is strongest. Start with Psalms 35, Psalms 91 and Psalms 109. They prayers of protection and deliverance. He then prayed for her before they returned to the hospital that night. Angela sat on the floor of her hospital room with a Bible on her lap. She opened Psalm 35 and started to pray with the words, contend, Lord, with those who contend with me, fight against those who fight against me. Words echoed through the quiet room, filling the air with a strange piece of fuel energy. She continued with Psalm 91, feeling a warmth envelop her as she spoke the words of protection and faith. As the clock struck midnight, she finished with Psalm 109. She prayed fervently as her soul reached out for deliverance. Miraculously, days later, Angela's condition began to improve. The maggots disappeared and the pain lessened. Her Eunice and Pastor Ella were astonished by the change, knowing that something supernatural had taken place. When she became stronger, Angela, accompanied with their Eunice, went to the police with their recording of Williams's confession. They fired a report, and the authorities immediately launched an investigation. When they arrived at Williams' apartment, they found her son Williams had lost his mind. He was sitting outside, looking disoriented, with tattered clothes, blabbing incoherently. It was as if the darkness he had unleashed had turned back on him, consuming him from within. The officers quickly restrained him and took him away. Days later, Angela was discharged from hospital, and just before she left, she went to Dr. office. "I don't know how to thank you, doctor. You saved my life, and in more ways than one." Dr. Eunice smiled. "Angela, I didn't do this alone. You're strong enough to face what happened and brave enough to trust us to help you. Took the steps to break free." Angela sighed, feeling a mixture of relief and gratitude. "I never thought I would survive, especially after realizing what Williams had done to me. I trusted him, believed in him, and he betrayed me in the worst way." Dr. Eunice smiled gently. "Either betrayal can be deep, but it doesn't define who you are. You are more than what you went through. You have a future, Angela, one filled with hope, healing, and possibilities." Angela nodded. "I do feel different, lighter, as if a dark cloud has lifted." Angela and Dr. Eunice went to the police station to follow up on the cassette. They learned that Williams had been formally charged, and the evidence Angela had provided was crucial in bringing him to justice. The recording of his confession and the testimonies of Eunice and Pastor Elia had painted a clear picture of his intentions, leaving no room for doubt. The officers informed Angela that Williams would face trial and his actions would not go unpunished, but he would first be put in the police psychiatric hospital until he gained his senses back. Angela resumed her studies, feeling stronger and more focused than ever before. She returned to her life, determined to make the most of the second chance she had been given. She also promised to intentionally build a relationship with God and to never engage in any sexual relationship with any man until she was married. She continued to keep in touch with Dr. Eunice, who was now like an elder sister to her. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed this story, kindly share your thoughts about it in the comment section and give the story a thumbs up. Also share with your family and friends and subscribe to this channel. Thank you and remain blessed.